And we are live on TCTV Channel 8 and YouTube.
Excellent. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the January 21st meeting of the Advisory Board, or Advisory Committee. I'd like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I'd like to start off. Deb's going to be monitoring the YouTube channel, and we're going to go down the agenda. First up will be approval of the meeting minutes from the last meeting. Everyone's had a chance to review them.
I did.
Okay. We could, if anyone has any changes or omissions, or if not, I'll entertain a motion to accept.
Make a motion to accept the meeting minutes as written.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, if I could,
Yes.
unfortunately, I didn't make last meeting because I didn't feel up to it. I watched the meeting,
Okay.
and this is just comments. This is just comments as far as the meeting minutes. The fact that you talked about reducing the amount of people, as well as putting somebody on, I'd like to see that discussion take place at a later time. There was
Yes.
things that were not discussed, such as the effect of COVID on our ability to end up getting people, as well as the bylaw, which basically says you can't have an employee on this. And I think the individual you're talking about is an elected individual, and that's not acceptable. Also, DLS has weighed in, as well as our bylaw, saying that you can't have that happen. So I'd like to have that discussion at a later time, if you could put it on the agenda at some future date.
Yep, absolutely. I think we actually said that in when we were talking, that we wanted to make sure that that was a discussion we had down the road as things were coming. So we definitely will put that on. Anyone have any other meeting minute questions before we go to continue down the agenda?
Nope.
Okay, I'll take a roll call vote. Deb?
Yes.
Okay, Will, you weren't there, correct?
Yes, absent.
Okay, Tony?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. All right. Next on the agenda is a budget report. As far as the budget, I know they're just starting recently, I think last week they started the department head meetings. And I believe that, if I remember correctly, Adam had said once they go through their initial meetings and that, they would then be coming to the Board of Selectmen and advisory for questions and review and comments and that. Other than that, budget report wise, I don't know if anyone else has anything they'd like to talk about as far as budget goes. We put ours forward. We're kind of waiting to see what the other departments before we weigh in on their process.
If I could, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, go ahead.
I did talk to the administrator, and on the 14th, he did end up sending out an updated last year's budget. It doesn't include his sitting down with the departments. He's not completely finished, because I had a conversation with him concerning that, because I had some concerns. When I did look at it, it's on what he had sent out, it said 2020, 22, 22, and I just asked him, and I ended up saying to him that asking him if that was the budget and if there was updates to it yet. And he said no. So I want to let everybody know that that's where we presently are on that budget. And by the way, there's some issues that we need to take and discuss. I can't talk about them, nor can we, because we would be breaking the open meeting law.
We are in an open meeting. As far as budget wise, does it have to do with the budget, Will?
Yes, it does.
Well, I think it's got to do with the budget. We did post budget and budget report here on the agenda, and we are in an open meeting. If it's something that you wanted to bring up, I certainly see how it would be under the realm of what we have on the agenda.
Well, in my conversation with the administrator, he was surprised that we didn't have a separate agenda item compare off his memo about using stabilization or free cash because we have a deficit, a structural deficit, and he was hoping that we would weigh in and end up addressing that at a meeting. And I don't believe that just a general topic of budget report is sufficient because his memo is separate from that email.
Okay, we can certainly put that on the next agenda item.
Yeah, I mean, we could do that, but I think we need to have more details. I mean, I read his memo and kind of kicked around some ideas of what he would do. Going into stabilization was one idea. Maybe we invite him on to see what he's really thinking. I mean, I wouldn't want to make a decision without a formal request of, hey.
Well, if I can weigh in on this, it's up to us to take a look at those two alternatives that he gave, but there's also other alternatives which I don't want to discuss because we would break the open meeting law. Period. I mean, there is a number of things that could be done beside the ones he had. He is bringing that to the selectmen, and he was hoping that they can end up having us put that on the agenda as a structural defect and what could be done.
Well, we can certainly, like I said, put it on the next agenda. That's not a.
Tom, if we're going to do that, I'd like you to, if you would, please.
Yes, I will.
Adam.
Absolutely.
Because he was hoping we would have a recommendation when he went into the selectmen next week.
A recommendation for what?
He didn't ask for a recommendation, so he did send out the memo, and we can put it on the agenda, and we'll invite him, and that way we can have a good discussion on the topic with all the information on the table. And as far as the Board of Selectmen, they can still get our recommendation, whether it's prior or after. I don't believe the budget's finalizing at this upcoming meeting, so. Okay, anyone have anything else on the budget that we can talk about? Okay. Moving on, discuss the annual report. I sent that out to people to read. Will did express some questions. I did say that I'd put it on send out that I'd put it on this meeting, so we didn't go back and forth discussing it via email. I figured it'd be better to discuss it here. So Will, if you want to let you lead off with your concerns, if
I'm going to take it and let the chairman end up. You indicated that you wrote that report and you had that. I'd like to take it and end up hearing what you have to say based upon your assumptions.
Assumptions on the report?
Yep.
Okay. It's a annual report. It's not a accountant's ledger report. According to our bylaw, it says that we are supposed to make an annual report with recommendations relative to financial matters of the town and the conduct of town business. And that's what's supposed to go into annual report. Looked at last year's annual report that's gone in to use it as a basis. I've written numerous annual reports for different departments throughout my time in town government. So I'm very familiar with writing annual town reports and put in what we basic summary for the community, and any more detailed summary than what's in the annual report. They certainly are. Anyone is welcome to review the minutes. And that's my summary on that.
Well, if I could, I also ended up putting a copy when I put it on from the bylaw. And it says it shall be the duty of the advisory committee to make an annual report of its doings.
Correct. Yeah.
With recommendations relative to financial matters and the conduct of town business to be contained in the annual report. There's stuff that's not included in the report.
Okay, but there's also, it still addresses what the bylaw says. It's, we talk about the conduct of a town business and the recommendations relative to financial matters down in the bottom paragraph. If you had read, did you read that part?
Yes, I did. And let me say this. If you use last year's annual report as the basis, that was incorrect. I did research on that, and that did not come before the committee at all.
Yes, it did.
And it was just submitted.
No,
and
that is not true.
It didn't have the detail that is necessary.
That is not
and I
true.
went back and I reviewed a number of years, starting with 2017 and 2017, that we ended up on that report. It shows a breakdown of where we spent the money in each of the accounts, the detail as to purchases of services. It showed also the end-of-year transfers. We had 2 end-of-year transfers, one to snow and ice, and one to the town council, and the snow and ice.
We didn't have any this year out of our account.
Yes, we did.
No, we didn't. We still got the same amount in our advisory account, emergency reserve fund, that we had at the beginning.
Tom, I'm not talking about emergency reserve.
Okay.
This is end-of-year
What
transfers.
our accounts did we transfer out of?
End-of-year transfers. We had end-of-year transfers that we did.
Well, if you don't
Well,
like something that's written, why don't you write what you want in there and present it to us?
I don't have copies of it.
Well, Will, I do want to say
please?
one thing as far as on the individual spending. It's ridiculous to list everything that we spend individually, because if we did that, it's easy for us. We probably spent 4 items on garden newspaper things. The DPW would have about 8,000 entries. So if each department listed each individual expense, we'd have about a 1,000-page book. And I don't think that many of the townspeople would appreciate paying for a 1,000-page accounting ledger.
The annual report is supposed to be a synopsis.
The other departments don't have a bylaw that states what's supposed to be in the annual report, our annual report.
And we do, which is why.
And ours is very small as far as what has to be reported.
It's supposed to be a synopsis of what we did. We can't discuss
Correct.
every single thing we talked about.
That's what the minute.
And 17, I just told you what it is. In 18, we ended up showing how much we end up putting for the emergency reserve, and also broke down what we had for purchases of services and employee support in the report. It was only in 19 that was left out.
Maybe in 17, it should have had, those transfers should go in each individual department's account. We approve it and the select board approve it as we're an accounting mechanism of making sure that it's an appropriate item.
Mr. Chairman, if I could,
Certainly.
the end of year transfers, we have a policy on that, and it basically says that there's supposed to be 3 copies: one for the issuer or requester, one for the accountant, and one for the advisory. The advisory should keep a copy of that, and also the emergency reserve fund, and that's the basis for creating our annual report, as well as any monies that we have on expenditure reports. I mean,
Well,
that's,
then I would
done-
recommend making a-
that's what's been
proposing a
done in the
bylaw
past.
change.
That's what's been done in the past.
I'm
It's
not in
only
the
been-
past.
Well, I'm looking
Well-
at the FY19 one. It has what our emergency reserve fund supplies. It has expenditures for employee support, purchase of service supplies. It has all that. It has
Does it break
all
it down? Mr. DeJoy, does it break it down
that. Break it down how?
as to where we spent the purchase of services?
No, you don't do that. in
That's not
something
an
like
annual
this.
report, Will. An annual report.
Yes, it is.
No,
It
no.
The report would show how many times we ended up having a pre-town meeting and how much we spent for that.
No,
You don't
they
think
could
it's
go-
important?
No, I don't. I think if we put what we spent, that is what this report is looking for.
Well, I disagree
All right.
with you on
That's fine.
this report.
Okay.
That is your option.
We're not doing our job as far as I'm concerned. What we're doing exactly what the selectmen went through is taking in and making it easier and cutting stuff out so you don't end up doing the full job.
That's your opinion, Will.
That was also some of the selectmen's opinions also for theirs. That there was things that they should not be cutting out of their document.
Well, in my opinion, that's why we have minutes also. We take minutes at each meeting. Deb does a good job on that. We put detailed things.
Well, that may be true. We take minutes, Mr. Chairman, but one of the things I found that we don't do a good job in is where's the minutes that we can find for all these meetings that we had? I went and I looked at 18 and 19, and I could not find, especially in 19, I knew that we had end of year transfers. I looked at minutes. I didn't see any minutes. I brought as many minutes to you as possible, and none of those are on
One
there.
of those.
And I found that the agenda did contain end of year transfers last year
So
and
Will,
also this year.
you talk about the minutes, but I remember probably about 3.5 years ago, I came to an advisory board meeting and I asked you why the minutes of your meetings weren't posted and nobody had an answer. So
Yes,
before
they were.
No, there wasn't. They weren't. I asked you specifically and I looked for them and I made sure I looked for them.
Where did you look for them, Mr.
I looked
Mr.
for them
DeGroot.
on the town website and the advisory committee where they're supposed to be posted.
No, they're not posted there. They're posted under the town clerk's
Well,
thing. That's where they're supposed to be posted.
I looked
So
under
that she can-
town government also, and they weren't there. I specifically asked the committee why they weren't posted, and nobody had an answer.
Well, Mr. DeJoy, I will end up going on that, and I will end up pulling up
Fine.
minutes if you would like, and tell you exactly when. You give me a date, and I will tell you
I
if there
don't
was minutes
remember.
posted or not.
How about January 21st, 2021? That's today's date. Let's continue on with this year's FY20 annual report.
Well, there was nothing posted for our minutes all through from October on and before.
I think you are looking in the wrong place, Will, because I know they are, because I put them there.
Where?
On the town website where it says, or same place I changed the agenda, I can go on and post minutes. It says upload minutes. I've uploaded them from my computer that Deb sent and we approved, and they're on the website.
And where are they, Mr. Chairman?
Well, Will, if you hold on a second, I can see if I can write the instructions down for you to find them. If you go to Town of Templeton, you go to Advisory Committee under the Town Clerk's site. If you scroll down on the Advisory Committee page and you get to, let's see, we got meeting minutes for this one. Let's see, there's some that were canceled. We got the July ones there, June 25th, June 4th, May 21st, May 7th, April 30th, April 16th, April 2nd, March 5th, February 20th, February 6th, January 16th. So that's a good portion. There may be a couple missed that we need to do our best on getting them all posted, but those are the ones that are there at this point as far as to go through for this, to make sure that if anyone has any additional information needed further from the annual report, that we certainly could reach out and they could look at the minutes and try to see what's what on that as far as that goes.
Well, I did look there, Mr. Chairman, exactly what you said,
Okay.
and it comes up with FY21, and I click on FY21, and I don't see anything under there.
I don't know what to tell you. I wasn't reading FY21. I was going right down the list of meeting minutes. Right where it says.
Right, I went to meeting minutes, and it shows FY21, 2019, 18, 17. I click on 21.
It doesn't
And
show any of
it's
that. I'm looking at the town clerk's page, like you said, where they're posted. I didn't do anything on the advisory page. I'm doing it on the town clerk's page under the Templeton Mass section, under the Templeton Mass Advisory Committee. And if you scroll down to the past meetings and current meetings, it tells you which ones are canceled. It tells you which ones were Zoom. If there were additional documents available, it shows all the minutes available.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I have also gone on the minutes and agenda and pulled up the town clerk's page and go to advisory committee, and it pulls up, and I see no minutes for any of the minutes, any of the meetings. It shows me the detail and agenda, but it says on there, as far as minutes, not available.
Well, Will, I don't know. Maybe you're having a computer issue or something on it. I don't know. All I can tell you is I can see it in front of me. I can click on it and bring up the meeting minutes. It says minutes available in blue. It's a hyperlink. You click on that and it brings you to.
Because I scroll down and I see other times, like March 5th, I can see minutes. I can see of 2020. I can see in April, but I don't see anything thereafter. The last meeting minutes I see is September 3rd.
I don't understand the point of this conversation.
I don't. All I know, Will, is the minutes are posted. I don't know what else to tell you. I can see them and I know that they're there. So.
I think that's an issue, because if I can't see them, other folks can't see them either.
Well, maybe other people can see them. I don't know.
Well, and Amy's watching on YouTube. So she said it's possible that it could be a computer issue, like clearing the cookies or the computer cache. So it's hard to know whether it's an issue for like which user, you know what I'm saying? So Tom, you see them, Will, you don't, is an issue. Is it an issue with Will's computer versus the website itself?
Well, I've gone on my wife's computer also, and I get the same thing.
Okay.
I can put it on for next meeting. Will, I'll screenshot each step and maybe that would be helpful for you. I don't mind with that.
Send them
That'll
a link. Just send them a link, Tom. Send the
Well,
URL.
and Amy also made a good suggestion that if people can't see the minutes online and they are looking for a copy of the minutes, they can always email one of us or call the town hall.
Well, the reason I also bring this up is I've talked to a couple of people about getting on, and I told them to take a look at our minutes, that we videotaped, and also said go see our minutes. And I've got some feedback that they said that they couldn't find them. So it's not just my issue.
Okay.
Bob May is also watching. He says, no, it's a posting issue. So I'm not sure. It's a technical thing. So.
Okay, does anyone have anything else on the annual report? If not, I'll entertain a motion to submit.
Make a motion to submit the annual report as written.
I have a second?
I'll second.
Any more discussion?
Yes, it doesn't include everything that it should be on. I'll tell you my vote right now, it's a no.
I anticipated that vote.
Did I?
Do a roll call vote. Deb?
Yes.
Will, we already get you a vote. Tony?
Nope.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. All right, next on the agenda, we have old business. Anyone have any old business or open items that they'd like to discuss?
Well, I guess I should bring it up at this time.
Okay,
This breaks, by having that on there, you're breaking the open meeting law. And some months back, I ended up, when the agenda was posted after the 48 hours, I brought that up. I thought that people would look at that and see that what information must meeting minutes contain. And I can end up reading right from there on page 10, if you'd like. It says the list of topics must be sufficiently specified to reasonably inform the public of issues to be discussed at the meeting. That's
okay,
having it as old business and new business does not do that. Further on, it says, if it wasn't anticipated, the Attorney General strongly encourages public bodies to postpone any discussion or action on topics that are controversial or may be particular interest to the public if the topic was not listed in the meeting notice, excuse me.
so what topic don't you want to discuss?
So we are breaking the open meeting law by
We're not
the way
breaking the
that
open meeting
the
law.
agenda is on.
I'm confused. Like the whole agenda or one particular topic?
Just the last two topics.
that's
He's
the whole
talking
agenda.
about
Because they're not
business and new business. Okay, well, it's easy.
They're not
You don't have
specific.
it- Then you don't have anything specific, Tom. What's after those two? You call out for agenda items, and nobody put anything up. So what's after those? We'll skip them so we don't break the open meeting law.
We'll skip them so we don't break
Open
it. I'll
meeting
accept the
law
meeting, motion to adjourn then.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, any discussion?
Nope.
Deb?
Yes.
Will?
Yes.
Tony?
Yep.
And I'm a yes. Makes the meeting nice